We in our Halloween costumes. I am Bobby Boucher, the Water Boy. We got Garrett, the Bucky. What is it? The
Bucky the
Beaver.
Beaver,
The Beaver.
America's hero.
America's hero. I don't know if
Yes,
I
sir.
know to say America.
Hey, you ever been to Bucky's, dude? I know you have.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
I say it's the Southern hero. Uh, but with that being said, good morning, good afternoon, good
Hey,
night.
they can't hear us.
Hold on. Let's see. I can hear my voice. Say something.
Hey, maybe my thing is just muted. Let's see.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh yeah, we good.
All right, all right, all right. All right, but with that being said, good morning, good afternoon, good night, whenever, wherever, however you're watching this episode of the Wartime Podcast. Before I say anything else, I just want to give you out a verse of the day. Romans 8, verse 28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Obviously, we all have a calling in God, and you know, he does good by all of us. God is a good God. He's a great God. He's an amazing God. You just have to want to seek him for him to accept you. Uh, I don't have much more than that this week. Um, so with that being said, uh, I'm sure I'm gonna have a very lengthy conversation. So why don't we get into the preview for Alabama and LSU?
Yeah, alrighty. This is one of those games that preseason was looking like it could be one of the most important games all year. Looking like game day was had potential to go there. Um, looks like that. I mean, pretty clear it's not lived up to that. Alabama started off the season slow. LSU started off the season hot. Literally ever since then, Alabama's dominated. LSU just simply has not. And their head coach got fired. So this will be LSU's first game since firing Brian Kelly, which, there's talk of like, could this be like, we have that post coach firing resurgence of energy or something that sometimes happens. There could be some of that, but at the same time, Kalen DeBoer, excellent coming off of a bye. His whole career, anywhere he's been, we said it before the Georgia game when we did that preview, and they went and won. So now here we are after their second bye. They're playing LSU at home, which Alabama has been dominant at home under Kalen DeBoer. They have not lost. Um, versus an LSU team that I think is, I don't want to say dead, but uh, they definitely post week one they had national championship expectations, and it would take an insane miracle for them to find a way to still win a national championship. It's just not happening. Um, Here's where I'm really not too worried about this game. The big problem for LSU was not their defense. All right, Blake Baker, their defense coordinator, is legit. All right, the only team that really scored it up on them was A&M that last game, and that was very clearly an LSU team that gave in the second half. So I don't buy too much into that. It's really been their offense, their offensive play calling, their scheming, their ability to get the running game going, their lack of weapons at receiver, forcing Garrett Nussmeier to do too much even though he's beat up. That's been their issues. Literally none of those issues have gone away. Same offensive play caller, same running game, same offensive line, same beat up Garrett Nussmeier, same receiving core. None of it's changed. So I have no faith that LSU is going to go into Bryant Denny Stadium and right that ship against an Alabama team that's going to be coming in fired up off of a bye, who's ready to attack this last stretch of the season, feeling like they are the best, most tested team in the country, which I would say Alabama. Nobody is more tested than Alabama where we sit right this second. Um, so I I forget. Let's see the line on this game. I have it right here. Let's
Bama's
see.
favored by 10.5.
Yeah, that's right. Double digits. Double digits against LSU. Preseason should have been one of the biggest games of the year, double digit favorite. So, this is kind of one of those weird games that Alabama like could find a way to like it kind of be close up until the end and like up until like the second half and then Alabama just hammers at them and just kills them. But honestly, I don't even think that. I think Alabama comes in hot. They come in ready to play. FYI, I will be at that game. It's a night game. It's going to be awesome. Night game versus LSU, going to be lit no matter how bad LSU is. Um, so I'll take some videos and I'll post them on the Instagram like with our like takeaways or whatever for next week.
I got
Um, but really excited for this game. I think Alabama's just going to have their way. I don't think LSU has enough on offense. Um, LSU's like 82nd in red zone offense in the whole country. Alabama's 8th in red zone
you.
defense. So even if
They're 102nd in red zone offense, and
yeah,
Bama's
something
seventh
terrible,
in red zone defense.
right? So even if LSU's able to move the football, which I just don't think they will be able to do for 4 quarters, it's going to be hard for them to score on this bend don't break defense. And even if they do get down there consistently, eventually they're going to have to start taking some chances and going for it because Alabama, once they get to about their own 45, they're still on their side of the field. Everything is four down territory for this offense. Everything has been 4th and 8 from the 45-yard line. And Ty Simpson against Missouri throws a 25, 30-yard pass down the field in tight coverage. Catch. One of the best throws I've seen all year. So I genuinely do not see a way this LSU offense. Granted, their defense is pretty good and could give Alabama some troubles. I don't see a way this LSU offense can simply keep up with Alabama. I'm not going to talk too long about this game because we have more interesting topics to get on about. But I feel confident in Alabama. I feel confident in their offense. I think they come out hot. I think they score fast early. Well, not necessarily fast. Alabama doesn't really score fast this year, but get up to an early lead. That LSU, like it might be 14 to nothing, and then by the end of the game, Alabama's won by 14. So outside of the like first 2, 3 possessions, LSU and Alabama pretty much keep up with each other from there on out. But Alabama just got that early lead and never let it go. That's the way I see this game going personally. Unless LSU somehow finds some magic, I doubt it. I'll have to see it to believe it.
Uh, yeah, like you kind of hit the what is it, the head on the nail? Is that the saying?
The net the nail on the head.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever that saying is, you did it. It was it's a game that's always exciting to watch, and it's fun to watch for everybody. That's like if you're a football fan, you sit down, you watch LSU Bama, you're gonna have a good time. I usually enjoy watching it. It's two teams I hate. I'm leaving with a win no matter what happens. LSU gonna lose, Bama gonna lose. I'm happy either way. Um, so it's definitely enjoyable for me to watch. But unfortunately, Brian Kelly has been fired. Very unfortunate for the SEC. That is an attractive job to upcoming coaches, and we'll get into that later.
Very.
But just this game does not match up well good at all for LSU. Um, Bama averages about 2 takeaways a game. That they are forcing turnovers. They're actually fifth in turnover margin in the nation, and
Yeah, +9.
you expect after just firing your head coach to have some all a team that's already struggling very very badly on the offensive end, that there might be a even bigger drop off because Brian Kelly isn't amazing obviously, but I don't know if there's anybody in there that's gonna rejuvenate this LSU offense. And just matchup wise, it does not look good for LSU's defense. LSU's defense is 71st in the country in getting off the field on third down. and Alabama's offense is 12th in the country in um, creating, longer drives. They convert on third down 49.5% of the time. That is just absolutely insane. You're telling me it's third down and you have a 50-50 shot of continuing your drive. And then the team on the other side is just not known for getting off the field when it does hold their opponents at third down. And then you talk about the red zone offense and red zone defense for LSU and Alabama. It's just not a good matchup anywhere for LSU. It I wish I could say it was going to be a fun game. I just, like you said, I think Alabama's going to, just handle LSU with whatever they want to do. Like, it's just going to be a dog walking. I don't expect much. Um, an LSU team that's very frustrated. Garrett Nussmeier, their leader, very frustrated. He came back to college for this, thinking he could improve his draft stock. And I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's as good as everybody says he is, but I still think he's a really good quarterback. And he's very frustrated. This is a team who couldn't get anything rolling. Now they don't have a head coach. It just seems like it's all crumbling apart for LSU. And against a Bama team that has been red hot on fire, I just don't see a good game here.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's a bad matchup. I've been saying that for weeks now. Even looking ahead, like not knowing how LSU would do at home versus A&M or on the road versus Vandy. Just after their first loss to Ole Miss, um, it's been clear to me that this was going to be a bad matchup for LSU, regardless of how the rest of their season goes. Even if they find a way to win football games, like if they can't run the football, really after that Brian Kelly rant. You remember that he did that rant after a win, the Florida win. Really,
He,
after that, I was like, nope, they're not fixing it. And if they don't fix it, like, that's Alabama's biggest weakness, and you're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to run the football. You're going to throw into our strengths. It's not going to work. Um, and I still 100% agree with that. Yeah, you mentioned the third down, like 50-50. Alabama's right at 50-50
mhm.
converting. That's not even mentioning the fact that they are also still really good on fourth down, too. So even if you find a way to get that 50-50 stop, they're probably going to hit you. Like, as long as they're close to midfield, they're going to hit you with the fourth down play. And Ryan Grubb has been excellent on those like crucial plays, the 2-point conversions, the fourth down plays, the play that iced the Georgia game, the screen pass. Like, he has been great in those situations. So even if you manage to get Alabama off the field on third down, they're going to go for it on fourth, and I would still trust Alabama over LSU. Talk about Garrett Nussmeier. I'm still pretty high on Garrett Nussmeier. He's hurt. He has no help at the receiving position, no running game. So although his stats are taking a dip, I think that's largely just because of the position that his offense and the scheming around it is putting him in. Um, so I still think his draft stock is still pretty decently high. I think Max Brown, I think is his name. He was a quarterback for USC. Now he's like part of the media. He said he still thinks Garrett Nussmeier is the most NFL ready quarterback in the nation. Um, I don't have an eye for that, so I can't confirm or deny that. But I still think Garrett Nussmeier will be a high draft pick, and I think he will do pretty well in the NFL. It's just a bad situation. Like, this is not what he signed up for when he came back, and it's just a bad situation. So I kind of feel for him, but he's at LSU, so sucks to suck. I don't know.
Yeah, he's not bad in any
Yeah,
way. I don't know. Look, if I was just to sit up here and talk about the whole NFL ready thing, I would say he's second or third. I think
yeah,
Fernando
yeah.
Mendoza is probably the most NFL ready quarterback.
I would agree.
Um, but I think Garrett Nussmeier is still in that conversation nonetheless. And I,
Definitely.
I think he deserves to be in that talk. I think he's a good quarterback. Like I said, I don't think there's a lot of people who think he's the best quarterback like in the SEC in the nation. I don't agree with that, but a really good quarterback nonetheless. Very unfortunate situation. Like you said, he's at LSU though. Sucks to suck. You decided to go back to Brian Kelly, brother. I don't feel bad for you.
Not at all. Not at all. I feel bad for the injury because you hate to see that, but
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
else sucks to suck. Sucks to
yeah.
suck.
take. You got to gamble on yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, who
Yeah.
was in that draft class last year that intimidated you so bad, Garrett? Nussmeyer, not you, Garrett. Garrett Nussmeyer. Just wanted to know.
Will
It's all
Howard.
right. Hey,
Peyton Thorne.
yeah, yeah, I'd be scared of him too. I'm terrified of Peyton,
Who
actually.
who all did get drafted? Okay, so Shador.
Shadur, Will Howard got drafted late. Tyler Shuck, Jackson
Oh,
Dart,
what's the Jackson Dart?
Dylan
Who was Cam
Gabriel,
Ward? Cam
Cam
Ward.
Ward.
I still think Garrett Nussmeier would have been a top
I'm
15
taking
pick.
Garrett
Like,
Nussmeyer over Tyler Shuck. I know that.
yeah. And the Saints, and his dad works for the Saints. I don't know.
27-year-old rookie. Gosh, he's even
Whatever,
older than
dude.
Michael Penix. That's insane.
And Michael Penix was old, dude,
He's still a
when he
baller.
got there.
Still a baller.
Oh yeah. Dude's cold. That's the Boar product right there.
Um, I don't want to just rush. This might be the quickest we ever got done with the Bama talk. I don't have much more to say.
Yeah. I said I wasn't gonna talk too much about it. Like, I feel confident in this game. Please do not let me down. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say.
They let you down.
Just get out
It's
there with
gonna
the
be a
win.
good week. It's gonna be a great week.
Phew. Great week? You mean we're both disappointed because both our teams lost?
I don't know if both our teams lost. I got a newfound hope. I'm rejuvenated. My Auburn emotions are back. I've been dead watching this Auburn team for 3 weeks now. I feel something again. I feel hype. I feel excited.
How many times have you felt this as an Auburn fan?
Excited?
Yeah.
Every week one, and then that's about it. uh,
That's fair. See, yeah. I'll believe it when I see it. Look, I'm a big fan of DJ. Oh no, we'll talk about Auburn later. We'll
oh,
talk about,
they're up
I'm done
next.
talking about Alabama.
They're up next. I guess since we don't have much to say about Bama this week, we're gonna get into the big conversation of the episode. I'm not gonna talk anything about the Kentucky game. I'm not here for it. I don't got no stats. I don't got nothing to talk about. I got nothing to say about that game. I have everything to say on what it had to do about this decision to fire Hugh Freeze. Now,
I'm just gonna sit back and relax. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna kick back and enjoy this.
I'm gonna throw all the stats at you before I go on my rant. Let me just start with the only good thing that Hugh Freeze did for Auburn. While at Auburn, his recruiting rankings went like this. In 2023, coming in, he gathered a 17th national recruiting class and a 6th overall national transfer portal class. Okay, and then in 2024, he had the 8th national recruiting class and the 18th national transfer portal class. And then this past season in 2025, he had the 8th national recruiting class and the 8th national transfer portal class. The talent is there. He gathered it all. He had all of the pieces. He brought it to Auburn. He showed that Auburn can still recruit with the best of them. He can still flip these guys from Bama, from Georgia, from Florida. He showed that Auburn still has that power. They still hold that weight. And with the right system, with the right coaching staff, they can be in the league with the best of them. They can be in the league with the heavy hitters. They deserve to contend toe-to-toe with everybody in the nation. And it was proven with Hugh Freeze's recruiting. And so that concludes all the good things that Hugh Freeze did for Auburn. Let me just let me start with his record. While at Auburn, Hugh Freeze went 15-19, negative, not 500, not anything above 500, not even close. 4 games negative. He went 6-16 in conference play. Yes.
That's the worst from an Auburn head coach since 1950.
In conference play?
Yes, since the 50s from an Auburn coach.
But I definitely I have no pushback. Like I don't even think that there's.
Yeah, I just just had to leave that in there because it's terrible.
6-16 in conference play is absolutely absurd, atrocious. I don't have the Brian Harsin stats right here. He didn't get as long as Hugh Freeze, but who knows if they even would have, like, Brian Harsin might have had more wins. That's all I'm gonna say.
I got you.
1-12 versus top 25 teams. The one being Texas A&M last year in Jordan-Hare Stadium. An extremely fun game. I'll give it to Hugh Freeze. That was an amazing game. I had so much fun. Let me hear it.
So what was it? 6-16.
6-16.
So Brian Harsin was 4-9, which is not
Okay.
good. But had he gotten 7 more, I think he would have won at least 2. But
Well,
we don't know.
I will say this: Brian Harsin did have a better team handed to him. So
He definitely did.
Different situation.
Brian Harsin is the reason Hugh Freeze sucked that first year. It was Brian Harsin's team.
Sucked that first year, but we'll get into more on that later.
Okay, all right.
And my last record stat for you is while this is the most aggravating record statistic I have for you. While at Auburn, the head coach at Auburn, Hugh Freeze went 2-10 in one-score games. In games decided by one possession, he won 2 of 12. And that is the most aggravating, hardest pill to swallow. And then just know, we were just so close, Garrett. We were just so close. We were so close, Garrett. 12 times we were close. And we were so close that we only won 2 of them. In the words of Hugh Freeze, we were so close. Now, let me tell you.
They were a national title contender this year.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
But we're so close. Now, let me tell you about this offensive genius that Hugh Freeze is. In 2023, his first year on the Plains, Auburn averaged 26.2 points per game. That was 74th nationally. In 2024, they went up about 0.4 points per game and had 27.8 points. Oh my God, I butchered that. Hold on. They went up 1.6 points per game and averaged 27.8 points per game, and that was 71st nationally. In 2025, the year that he had all of the pieces, the best roster he had assembled, and what does he do? He dips down to 22.3 points per game, and that is 93rd nationally. 329.7 yards per game. That is 105th nationally. Third down conversion percentage is 35.77. That is 95th nationally. QB sack percentage. His QB was sacked 13% of the time. That is 135th nationally. I don't know. I believe that is dead last. It might be 136. Okay, so right before dead last.
Yeah.
So your quarterback is getting sacked 13% of passing plays. Here's my fun fact of the day. In all 3 years of Hugh Freeze's head coaching stint, the team averaged more points per game than points allowed. So meaning if you just looked at the averages, we averaged more points than we allowed. And yet, he still went under 500 every single season. So not one year did he go above 500, but every single year he averaged more points than we did allow. I don't know how that's possible. I mean, I understand, yes, how it's possible with averages, but how as an average can you score more than you allow and you still don't even go above 500? And you mentioned how terrible he did his first year. Let me tell you, going into the New Mexico week, the first year of Hugh Freeze, Auburn was 6-4. A chance to go 7-4 against a very obvious clear win against New Mexico. and then you were 1/3 and 31 away from 8-4. Hugh Freeze. And that was the worst roster you had, and you had the chance to have the best record. You had a chance to go 8-4 in your first season, and you blew both opportunities. And you go 6-6 on the regular season, and you get into the Music City Bowl, and I'll never forget this. I was at the game, freezing cold. I'm sitting there watching my team get whooped by who? Maryland. Embarrassing. A team that just come off playing their tails off and almost beating a national title competing Alabama team to then getting their butts whooped to Maryland. Embarrassing. It was an embarrassing first year when he had a chance to go 8-4, maybe 9-4, maybe 8-5. Who knows? 8-4 looks a whole lot better than 6-7. Here we are. The next year he went 5-7, and then this year he didn't even make it to the end of the season. So we'll never know. We'll never know what he was gonna do. If I had to guess, he was gonna lose 2 more games. If I just had to guess. It's just very frustrating that there are coaches out there doing so much with so little. And this offensive genius has so much talent that he put together, that he established. This is his team. These are his guys. And he just underperformed as a quote-unquote offensive genius. 3 points against the worst team in the SEC, offensive genius. Garrett, I have a question for you. How many touchdowns do you think Auburn scored against the worst 2 defenses in the SEC combined? How many touchdowns would you guess?
Against the worst 2 defenses in the SEC?
Yep.
Let's see. So that'd be obviously Kentucky, which was a big fat 0. Let's see. Who would have been the other one? It'd have to be A&M, right? You're talking about A&M.
It's Arkansas.
Oh, I forgot y'all played Arkansas. Yeah, you only had like one offensive touchdown.
One total touchdown against the 2 worst defenses in the SEC. 1. And it's very disheartening. I can sit back right now and if I thought about it, I promise you the Auburn defense has outscored the Auburn offense in the last 2 weeks, because I do not credit the Kentucky field goal with Auburn's offense. I credit that to the Auburn defense because they forced that turnover and it was in field goal range. Arkansas, they scored 1 touchdown and they put them in field goal range 3 more times after that. So what? That's 3, 6,
16.
9, 12. That's 19 points. So you got the 3
16.
field goals against Arkansas, then the 1 against Kentucky. So that's 12.
Oh, yeah.
And add the touchdown, that's 19. So that's 19 points. Yeah. That would be 16 points in the Arkansas game, and they scored 33.
Yeah. So yeah, the defense has outscored the offense
Against the worst 2.
by like 2.
Against the worst 2 defenses in the SEC. From my offensive genius coach. I mean, look, Hugh Freeze is a great guy. He's a great person, despite what he did in his past. I believe he has bettered himself. I believe he's found the Lord, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I do firmly believe that. But there's one thing football does not care about. It does not care if you're a good guy, a bad guy, an okay guy. It doesn't care. Football doesn't care. Football only cares if you're a good head coach. And you can't be a good guy and be a good head coach. You don't got to be a bad guy. But, I'm very confident that Nick Saban was not the friendliest person to be around when he was head coaching at Alabama. You shouldn't be the friendliest guy in the room when you're a head coach at a football program like Auburn, like Alabama, like LSU. I mean, you can be a great guy. But your friends don't need to get passes just because they're your friends. These guys deserve to be punished, deserve to be fired. If they're not the right fit, they're not the right fit. And I felt like Hugh Freeze did that with certain coaching staff members. He couldn't let his pride go, and give up the play calling, and that's ultimately what led to his firing. He couldn't get over himself in a lot of situations. I don't know if you saw this. I don't know how true it is, but earlier today I saw that Tommy Tuberville was essentially begging Hugh Freeze to go out and get Diego Pavia out of the portal when he entered it. And reports were said that he was so convinced that Peyton Thorne was his guy, so he did not go after Diego Pavia. Like I said, I don't know how true that is, but it had circulated around today. You know how the rumors get. I'm not gonna say it's true, but how am I supposed to push back on that when I've seen nothing but stubbornness from Hugh Freeze? He gets in his own way all the time, and it sucks. It really does. It's unfortunate, but they make songs about it. Pride is the devil. Pride is the devil. You let this pride get a hold of you, and you're not gonna get anywhere. Sometimes you just have to be, you have to allow other people to have say so. You have to allow other people to have control. Hugh Freeze, you're not perfect, and that's okay. None of us are. You just have to understand that you're not perfect, and other people can make better decisions than you at certain times. And then, after it's been rammed in my head for almost a year, after you lose 10-3 to Kentucky, you ask for patience and say we're so close. We were a lot closer than you thought, Hugh Freeze. We were so close to firing you, so close that it happened, and I'm glad that it did. It's over with. I don't think I ever want to talk about Hugh Freeze again. When I talk about worst things to happen to me in my life, it's Brian Harsin and Hugh Freeze right here. They're competing, okay? And I want to say this to the Auburn fans that were like, no, don't fire Freeze. We want to keep this team together. I felt it. You could see the writing on the wall. This team was out on Hugh Freeze. You could just see it in the way that they played, that they were out on Hugh Freeze. So I feel like it would have been a bigger threat to keep Hugh Freeze if you wanted this roster. Felt like it would have been more dangerous to keep Hugh Freeze around if you wanted to, potentially keep guys like Cam Coleman, to potentially keep guys like Perry Thompson, to potentially keep Deuce Knight. I can't say that we're going to keep all of those guys, but I feel like we have a better chance keeping those guys without Hugh Freeze than we did with Hugh Freeze. You could just see, you put up 3 points against the worst team in the SEC, and you're an offensive guy. These offensive guys were giving up on Hugh Freeze. How do you think Cam Coleman felt? In my opinion, talent-wise, probably the best to second or third best wide receiver in the SEC. I don't think many people are going to debate that. How do you think that guy felt? How do you think Eric Singleton felt leaving Georgia Tech to come play for this Auburn team after he has seen what Hugh Freeze did to Keandre Lambert-Smith the year before, and then to get there and get underutilized? This guy's going to the draft next year. He doesn't have any more eligibility. This is it for him. And he took that risk coming to Auburn to play for Hugh Freeze. How do you think he feels? And I'll get more into the coaching carousel later. But I don't see how, as an Auburn fan, you would want to keep that around any longer. I just don't think he would have ever given up that play calling. I don't think it was in him. And I saw it a while back. I don't remember the exact timeline, but in the last like 50 to 70 years, only 3 head coaches have won the national championship while play calling. Um, and that should let you know a lot. I think the last one to do it was Jimbo um, at Florida State. Um,
Correct.
and before that, it was like 30 years. So you just can't have a head coach calling his own plays trying to win anything significant. Um, and I'll be honest, when it first happened, I thought the Hugh Freeze hire wasn't a great hire, but I thought it was a good hire. I thought it was a decent hire, somebody who had SEC experience, somebody who could put us in competition. He's not going to be, an elite 11 wins season every year, but I thought it was a step in the right direction after Brian Harsin. And in some ways it was, but the ways that I thought it was not. And it was definitely a rough time, a rough experience. I'm just glad that the sun is coming out and it's starting to turn into spring over there on the plains. The freeze warning is over. There is no more frozen grass. There's no more mildew or dew. There's no more dew on the grass. We're starting to wake up and the sunflowers are coming out. Okay? The freeze warning's over. I'm glad it's over. Like I said, great guy. Hope he gets healthy. This has nothing to do with him personally. Has nothing to do with his personal life. Hope he gets healthy from the cancer. I hope he has an amazing retirement. Maybe he coaches again with 15 million and I'm old as him and I have cancer. I'm saying retired. I just got paid $15 million. I'm sitting on the couch somewhere. I might sign up for a few more tea times, but I'm gonna definitely sit on that couch. But with that being said, DJ Durkin overall, in his head coaching career is 11-15, 10-15 at Maryland, 1-0 as an interim at Florida. He is taking over as the interim head coach. I believe it's the right move. I said it on the podcast. I texted you, Garrett, and said maybe this guy will get it instead. But they ultimately went with DJ Durkin. I think it's the right move because he has head coaching experience. He was obviously the leader of this group, and it seems like a lot of these guys, a lot of these players are extremely happy that DJ Durkin is the interim. They're extremely happy for him. They're extremely happy for the situation. He held his press conference today. I thought it went really well. John Cohen went right before him. He said some things that I agree with, some things that I didn't agree with. But one thing that John Cohen said is we're not trying to be close over here anymore. It's time to take that jump. Another thing. You might find this funny. DJ Durkin was asked about play calling today in the press conference, and he said Derek Nix will be the play caller, our only play caller, every single play caller, and I thought that was funny considering all the jokes about the 3 play callers coming into the. I got a kick out of it. I don't
That's
know
funny.
what compelled him to say that, but he did, and it was hilarious.
He's probably been thinking that all year and finally got to say it.
Hey, I don't want to speculate what they got going on over in there. But I'm glad it's Durkin season. It's got me excited. I'm not saying we'll win 3-0. I'm not saying we'll win 2 out of 3. We might only win 1. We might only beat Mercer. And if we do, that's okay. I didn't expect anything else, but I am excited to see how this team plays for DJ Durkin. I'm excited to see if this team can get behind him. I'm also excited to see what he's going to do with quarterbacks. Because if DJ is looking to get the head coaching job, I expect Jackson Arnold to be the starter. But if he's not searching for it, if he's not digging as hard as he can into the ground to try to get this job, potentially Deuce Knight starts the rest of the year. Considering you can play 3 games with and keep your red shirt. Well, no, he played a few snaps against South Alabama, so he might miss 1 more game, and then they might put him in for Mercer, and then depending on how he does, they might play him for Bama. Who knows?
Please let him do that. Please.
I'm not against it. I think that's something. You get your feet wet in conference play. It's something that could keep you around. A lot of these guys that are incoming freshmen in this recruiting class, some of these guys that are currently freshmen in this recruiting class, some of the guys that are sophomores, a lot of them have shown that they really want to play with Deuce Knight. And so if it takes a few losses, if it takes losing to Bama, that's okay. I'm willing to make that sacrifice to keep a lot of these guys around. I'll hate it, but in the long run, if we keep guys like Cam Coleman, Deuce Knight, a lot of these tight ends that we just brought in, Ryan G, if we keep a lot of these O linemen, I think it's completely worth it. So we'll see what happens there. Nothing has been announced. DJ Durkin on Tiger Talk before the tip off of the Auburn basketball game today said they're gonna get that out soon. I imagine maybe later tomorrow, if not Tuesday. If not Wednesday. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I've kind of said everything that I wanted to say about the current situation going on. I think, depending on what DJ decides to do, if he starts Jackson Arnold, just trying to compete for the job, I think we find a way to win against Vandy. I said it. You can hate me. I don't care. I'm going to have faith in my team. I feel a little bit rejuvenated. I feel a little bit of excitement. I'm a little hype. I'm a little ready to see what this DJ Durkin team looks like. Even though it's only a week, I'm excited to see what Derek Nick's play calling looks like. I'm excited to see this DJ Durkin-led team. If we start Deuce, I'll have my prediction after the first drive. If we start Jackson Arnold or Ashton Daniels, I think we find a way to win the ball game.
You said Derek Nix is gonna be y'all's new play caller's name for the remainder of the season?
Yes, he was our quote unquote OC.
Okay.
He comes from Ole Miss. He was under Lane Kiffin's wing, so I'm excited to see what he does. I don't think he has any previous if he has any play calling experience.
Okay.
I'm not totally sure on that. If he does, it's not at a high level. I think that was by design. I think Hugh Freeze kind of did that intentionally. I'm not.
Oh yeah.
I don't. Some people don't think so. I think so.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see what it looks like. It might not be amazing, but it'll be something new.
Yeah, you read my mind. That was gonna be my question. Has he ever called plays before? Yeah. When Auburn hired Hugh, I thought it was a good hire. I thought like, okay, here they go. Because I guess you had the Gus Malzahn era that competed with Alabama. Let's be honest, they competed, especially when it was at Jordan Hare. Then they made a bad hire in Brian Harsin, and that was only a year and a half, I guess 2 years since firing Gus. So I guess in my mind, I was like, well, Auburn's not going to be very down for long. Like they might not be national title contenders with Hugh Freeze, but they're gonna be back on a similar level to where Gus had them. Clearly, that did not happen. He literally got worse every year. Like you said, that first year, they were beating New Mexico State and stopping a 4th and 31 away from going 8-4 and then going to a bowl game. But instead, they lost both those games and then lost the bowl game. And it literally just got worse ever since. Straight up just got worse ever since. 5-7 the next year. 5 and what was it? 4-5 right now. 4-5.
One and
Okay,
5
4-5
conference play.
into the third year. To comment on DJ Durkin getting the interim, I said I guess if you are wanting, I guess if you're considering him being the replacement, like permanent next year moving forward, then this is a good decision.
John Cohen has
What's
already
that?
confirmed that he is 100% in the collection of people that they will look at, and I think that's a good idea. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that would be my first option, but I am happy with the fact that they're at least going to try it out.
Yeah, okay, so I would agree. Yeah. That since that is the case, I would say it is a good idea. If he wasn't, then I would say No, just keep him as a DC because there's so many other responsibilities and distractions that come with being a head coach that I like if I were an Auburn fan, I would rather him just focus on the defense. Especially since you have like two big games coming up out of this last stretch of three. But since he is in the running, I would say, yeah, give him his opportunity to prove why he should be the next head coach at Auburn. Um, can't go wrong. If you lose out, if you somehow lose out, even lose to Mercer, yeah, or what what harm? Like the point is like the season's done. Like it would be bad, but like what are you really missing out on? So might as well give him a shot. That's all I'm saying. Especially if you're considering for the head coaching position. Um, talking about like Deuce Knight and Jackson Arnold and stuff. Like I would rather, as an Alabama fan, play Deuce Knight in the Iron Bowl, not because oh he's a freshman, yada yada, whatever. Alabama's like the thing that's given Alabama the biggest fits has been like a running quarterback and whatnot. And Deuce Knight, he might be pretty mobile, but coming into his first couple starts, I would doubt that he would be anywhere near the level of Ashton Daniels or definitely Jackson Arnold. So seeing him he'd be a little bit more stationary than those other two guys, which I would prefer to see. Uh, look, it was time. It was absolutely time to fire Hugh Freeze, and I thought it was going to happen a couple weeks ago, and yeah.
On that, um, I heard that John Cohen was fully ready to fire him after Missouri, but he wanted to fire him off of a negotiated buyout. He didn't want to pay the full
Oh, that's
15
right.
million,
I heard
and
about that.
so they kept him, and then he lost in the three to Kentucky. He said, "Here, take the 15 million and get out of
take
here."
it, take it. Get out of my face. That's so funny. You know, not wanting to pay you 15 million and LSU just paid a guy 53 to kick rocks.
Well,
It's crazy just how money works in college football.
I mean,
It's insane.
certain people put themselves in those positions. I don't feel bad for LSU whatsoever for having to
No,
pay that much for
no,
Brian Kelly.
no.
I don't think he was
Exactly.
ever worth that much.
No,
And I'm
no.
okay with
Not
paying
down here.
15 mil to get Hugh Freeze
Yeah,
out of here.
absolutely you are. I mean, we got guys getting these buyouts worth 50 plus million
Yeah.
now. 15 is chump change. Um, can I take this moment to talk a little bit of trash? Just because built up frustrations over the years, because dare I say there was a lot of chirping coming from some Auburn fans, not necessarily you, but just the Auburn social media, all that deal. Talking about what they call our coach. What was it? Husky Harson. Husky Harson.
Hey,
Yeah, there
that's
was
still
that.
funny. That's still
Uh,
funny, dog.
it's, it's it's hilarious, and it's even funnier now that ironically, like Hugh Freeze got like fired like a year and a half later, and DeBoer it has a top five team and is like a like third third best odds to win the national championship. Anyway, also, I haven't heard the phrase "freeze five" in a while. I know that was a big thing. The freeze five. Now all five are still there, and
We
there's some
still
dogs.
got
All
him.
right,
We still
there's
got
some
him.
dogs. They just not the freeze five anymore. All right. Also, freeze warning. That was always stupid, and it's finally done, and it's hilarious that it's done. Lastly, all that talking. DeBoer, DeBoer, DeBoer. Man, some of y'all on Auburn Twitter needed to be worried about your own coach, cause dadgum, he sucked. He sucks. Hugh Freeze sucked at Auburn. He recruited very well, extremely well. Nothing else. He didn't do nothing else well. I agree with you. He's a good guy. I wholeheartedly believe that. Um, I don't ever like feel bad for these coaches when they get fired. Kind of depends on the situation. I would say like I kind of felt bad for James Franklin. I kind of felt bad for Hugh Freeze a little bit just because I know like Like James Franklin was genuinely a good dude and loved everything about that university and the players, and they told him to kick rocks because of 3 games. Um, but I know Hugh Freeze has been battling a lot and battled really hard to get back to this level. And we can say it didn't work out. He made wrong decisions. I don't doubt that he loved Auburn. He was an Auburn guy. Like I genuinely think like he kind of fit in there, but he made some bad decisions. Didn't make decisions he need to make. Um, so I kind of feel bad, especially because I know he's dealing with the health issues and whatnot. Um, but that's the business. I don't know. I kind of feel bad, but at the same time, like 6-16 in SEC play, um, bad.
I
Just not good.
Me personally, it's really hard for me to feel bad for anybody that's getting paid
Yeah,
$15 million to
that's
get
true.
out of here and retire. It's hard for me to feel
Yeah.
that way.
How
Now,
old is he? Do we know?
he's in his 60s. I think he's 64.
Is he really?
I think.
Dang.
I could be totally wrong.
Dang, that would be older than I thought. But I do have one more thing to say, and that is,
Ah,
what was I gonna
I
say? Oh
was
yeah.
so wrong. He's
Oh, was
56.
he? Oh dang. That's still, I mean, that's not young. Urban Meyer's like 56, and Urban Meyer's been retired for like 3 different times in the past 2 decades. Um, but heading into the season, they do SEC media days. During SEC media days, I think this was the line that killed him. Him seriously saying that he thinks that that team should and will be a playoff contender. Look, I appreciate the confidence. Not Kalen DeBoer, Kirby Smart, Steve Sarkisian. None of those guys went up on stage and said, "Yeah, we're gonna go make the playoffs. We're gonna be a national title contender." Like this is not what they say. All right, they say this is, if we do this, this, and this, we can do this. Like when you've gone 6-7, 5-7 the next year, you don't get to stand on a stage and say, "Y'all, we are so close. This is the third year we've been building up for. We're gonna be playoff contenders this year." So you're saying 9 or 10 wins at least to be in contention. 10 wins gets you in. 9 wins maybe, depends on what else happens. 8 wins, you're right on the verge, and then proceed to go 4-5 and lose to the worst team in the SEC, having not scored a touchdown on them, had one of the worst offenses in the whole entire country, which is your responsibility. When you say that, you cannot go then and have that season. You just cannot. He dug his own grave. That one phrase dug his own grave, regardless of what happened on the field. What's up?
That phrase in "we are so close," I think that dug his grave. But
Yeah.
I do have a theory that when he said that, I believe was me personally. I have no proof to back this up. I just felt like that was more of a John Cohen saying like, "This is Auburn. Look at the roster you have. You're supposed to be competing for national championships." And Hugh Freeze took that as his opportunity to go on stage and say, "Yeah, we're going to be competing for national championships." Because you know how Hugh Freeze is. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. He says
Yeah.
what he wants. He says how he feels. And if something like that was vocalized to him, I don't put it past Hugh Freeze to go out on stage and say that. And that's more so what I think happened.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have
Possible.
no proof to back that up. But just like even within the last 24 hours, you can see how frustrated John Cohen truly was with the Hugh Freeze situation, and I feel like that could have been easily like voiced to him, and he took that as an opportunity to go say something on stage.
Yeah. Very possible. Regardless, it doesn't look good.
No, it does not.
Regardless,
It
and
looks
it's
terrible.
the you're right. You're exactly right. We're so close. We're so close. Literally heard it. I think after every game this year. I like.
Oh, it
I
hurts
can't
so
prove that.
much.
I can't
It
prove that, but I
hurts.
guarantee you, at least one press conference or interview throughout the year, like once a week, he said that at least in one press
After
conference.
every loss, he said it. I can sit here right
So,
now and tell you, Oklahoma,
and
Texas,
look,
Georgia, or Texas A&M, Georgia, Kentucky,
Missouri.
and Missouri. Yeah, he said it against every team. He said it after every loss. I guarantee it. I watched them all.
And I'm not surprised. And then to comment on what he said after the Kentucky game, like almost pleading with the students, I think what he was technically talking to was the students, so the fans.
The question was how did essentially it was how did you feel about getting booed off the field tonight? And he said
Okay,
just give me patience.
yeah.
No, he said something even worse than that. He said, "I wish I can have patience, but that's not something they give these days."
Oh,
Essentially,
dang.
that's like a spit in the face. Essentially,
Yeah.
that was a very disrespectful way to say it, in my opinion. That's
Yeah,
that's
he
verbatim what he
has.
said, though.
Yeah, and then those two comments, that one and then the one he said when was it Florida's AD or FSU's AD who came out and
Yep,
basically like went all in on the coach and said like until further notice like he is our guy, we're all in. And he was like, "It'd be nice."
it'd be real
Those
nice
two
for John
comments,
Cohen to
man.
come out here and tell me what a great job I'm doing.
Yeah, but you know what though? You know what though? Like I'm putting myself in his shoes. Like, I get where he's coming from. Yes, it would be nice. Does not mean he deserves it. It would have been nice if you're in Hugh Freeze's shoes, but he did not deserve it.
It would be nice, but
But
as the head coach
yeah,
of a football team that's not necessarily doing too hot, you don't get to say things like that, man.
I don't think the difference between Auburn winning and losing football games was from the support of the athletic director. So I don't
No,
he made it seem like, man, if we had support from the athletic director, we'd be winning football games. Dude, during the halftime of the Georgia game, when Hugh Freeze is walking off the field and he's chewing that ref out, who's right there beside him chewing the ref out as well? The athletic director. How much more support can you get than the athletic director risking it all, coming out on the field during halftime to walk by an official heading into the locker room and chew him out? It don't get much more supportive than that. I promise you, Greg Byrne ain't never done that, and he never will. And I'm not saying that to say like, oh, Greg Byrne better than Jim Cohen. No, Jim Cohen was fired up. I loved that from Jim Cohen. He was fired up, and
John,
rightfully so, given
John,
the circumstance. Hmm?
John.
John Cohen. John Cohen was fired up. He was passionate. That's never a bad thing. Never a bad thing. And he didn't take it too far, which
No,
is the concern in that situation. He did not. He just voiced his opinion, which, being an athletic director, which the athletic directors do run the conference, them and the presidents, not Greg Sankey. Greg Sankey answers to those guys. So John Cohen gets a voice, and he utilized it. Some of these athletic directors just sit up in their booths and don't say nothing. So you had the support. He was right there beside you, cussing out an official.
hey,
So I don't, I don't know.
I'm not gonna say he got him fired, but he ain't allowed to ref in the SEC no more after that. That's all I'm saying.
You're right. That
That's
dude
all
is
I'm
not
saying.
allowed.
He's been permabanned.
Well,
I wish
it
him.
was deserved.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't even necessarily about the calls either. It was just game management was just terrible. Even if you agree with the calls, which, let's be real,
I think it was
there were some
nine
there were
of
some bad ones.
12 were confirmed like bad calls
Yeah, right.
after review,
So
and that's
not good.
terrible.
Yeah. And then just game management. You know how
Yeah.
36
Why
minutes
do you
from the
got to
two terrible. Terrible. They lost control of the game. Anyway, but that's my take on it. Hugh Freeze, like I get where he's coming from. I don't think he earned that, and I don't think he should have been thinking about that. He needed to be thinking about how in the world am I going to save my job. Actually, he shouldn't be thinking about that. He should be thinking, how can I put these kids, these student athletes, into the best possible position to win? That should be the only thing on your mind when you're a head coach. And how do I get more kids to believe in that message and bring them here to then make them better, both on and off the field? That's what a coach does. And I'm not saying Hugh Freeze wasn't thinking that, but more spewing that message out rather than saying, "Hey, man, I wish our athletic director, like, I wish he just believed in me a little bit more. Hey, I wish the students gave me a little bit more patience and didn't boo me after losing 10-3 to Kentucky at home." You know, I
Gosh,
I like Hugh
dude.
Freeze as a person, but he made some mistakes. He deserved to be fired, and he's getting 15 million, and he does need to take a year off at least a year off to kind of re-identify himself, maybe think about where he went wrong offensively, kind of reinvigorate himself, but also most importantly, get healthy, and spend time with his family. Because being a football coach takes a lot of hours. It's really hard, both on the coach and the family. So spend some time, get healthy, figure out what's next. If it's not coaching again, good for you. If it is coaching again, best of luck. Um, yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Hugh Freeze, UAB Blazer head coach. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. He'd be real
You know
close
what? He
down
was
in the
good at the
American
G5.
Conference.
He
Be
was he
real
was
close
good
at
at
the
the
American
G5
Conference.
level.
I think,
He
hey,
was good at
you
Liberty.
put
Yeah.
him at UAB, they getting at least 8 wins. I guarantee it.
In the first
Guarantee
couple
it.
years, I bet.
Hey, the recruiting
Cam Coleman
classes.
transferred to UAB.
Woo!
Dude, dude, he'd have 300 yards a game on these boys.
I don't think Cam Coleman wants to go play for Hugh Freeze anymore.
No, 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 no,
I
no.
think
Definitely
he's
not. But
done.
imagine. But imagine.
Oh man, I think the game just moved past you to coach at a competitive level. Um,
Same thing with Jimbo. Same thing happened with
it's the
Jimbo.
same thing with Jimbo. Yeah, you're right. Jimbo, Dan Mullen, a lot of
Yeah.
these guys. I think the game is just evolved, and they don't want
Well,
to let it go.
Dan Mullen, I'm not even so much on that as much as he didn't evolve with the recruiting side of things, and so his teams just took a dip. And when your teams take a dip and you're not recruiting well, you're going to get the boot. So a slight bit different than Jimbo and Hugh, who I felt like this just never developed their offense. They're doing it in 2013, 2014, 2015. And then here we are 8 years later, 10 years later, and we're
10
sitting here
years,
saying, oh, they're doing the exact
the
same thing
exact
that
same
we learned
thing.
how to stop a decade ago. So that's the big issue that plagued those two guys because they both can recruit. Dan Mullen just couldn't recruit.
If I sat here and I thought about like the worst 7 losses I've had to endure as an Auburn fan, I got 3 right off the top of my head that came from Hugh Freeze.
Okay, so that's the Kentucky, New Mexico State, Maryland.
No, Bama. The
Okay.
4th and 31 is definitely
Oh yeah, that's
that is
fair.
scarred in my brain for the rest of my life, dude. This is the equivalent of my what y'all's kick six is. That's the kick six for me.
No,
Granted, I've said
very
multiple
very
times
comparative.
I'm trading the kicks. Like I'm taking the kick six for that. Like
Oh yeah. Well, no, actually, I'm not. I'm not. No.
so,
Heck
if
no.
Bama had the chance to get a kick six, but y'all had to go through the 4th and 31, you wouldn't want Bama to have that kick six?
So here's the Alabama mindset. Um, After the 4th and 31, did Alabama go win a national title? They did not. They lost in the Rose Bowl to Michigan.
Why are you
A lot of
lying
Alabama
right now?
fans,
This has
a
nothing.
lot of Alabama fans genuinely feel that if Alabama would have won that game, they would have beaten Florida State in the national championship game. Nick Saban in the national championship game is worth at least like an extra
Hey,
touchdown.
you know the SEC hypothetical winners of
Hmm.
everything.
Absolutely.
Hey, it's all right.
Absolutely.
It's all right.
But I do have one last thing to say about Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze is the first coach in college football history to be fired after winning 7 national titles
Oh,
in a single season.
gosh, I forgot you were gonna say
Um,
that.
Incredibly impressive. 7 national titles in August. Fired in November. It was November. He made it to November.
He didn't win enough in that span. How you gonna win
He should,
7 at one time and then you can't
7.
win another one?
7. You should have had at least 3 more since then to keep your
Right.
job.
Right, that's what I'm
Should have.
saying, dude. It
That's
just
what was wrong. We were talking about these quotes, the lack of offensive production. Really, he just didn't live up to what he did in August.
no.
Truth be
James
told.
Franklin. Just James Franklin. No disrespect to James Franklin, but
Actually, no, for real.
literally just James Franklin.
Anyway, I just had to throw that out there. Thought that was funny.
I appreciate that,
Yeah.
Gosh, I can't believe we lost to Kentucky. I've said everything I've needed to say about Hugh Freeze. We'll talk about the Auburn job when we get there. The next game, or the first game, really.